Hello everyone, my name is Hajime Sugiyama from Mitsubishi Electric. Today I'd like to talk about carbon neutral in manufacturing. These are the three items I'd like to talk about: carbon neutral and its impact, Mitsubishi Electric carbon neutral activities, and carbon neutral and manufacturing. The first is carbon neutral and its impact. What is carbon neutral? Carbon neutral is basically a balancing act. In our daily lives and factories, we emit a lot of carbon and also greenhouse gases. We want to balance this by reducing this and offsetting it by, for instance, using clean energies like wind power, solar panels, also planting trees. And also there's the possibility of paying money to have your carbon offset. And we want to do this to save the world. There's a lot of words similar to carbon neutral, like carbon net zero, carbon negative. A lot of companies are aiming for carbon net zero because, as I said, carbon neutral is not the perfect idea because you're offsetting it, meaning the total amount of CO2 that you're releasing is not reduced. In order to save the world, we need to reduce the total amount that we're releasing. So that's why a lot of companies have said are committing to go for carbon net zero. As Mitsubishi Electric, we're also focusing to be virtually zero at 2050. This is the total amount of greenhouse gases we release to the Earth every year as the world, 50 billion tons per year. And this is the reason why everybody is becoming very, very serious about carbon neutral. We need to save our future. If we keep emitting these gases at the pace we are here, the Earth's temperature is going to rise by 5 degrees Celsius by 2100. And this is a big issue. Maybe people think about the Ice Age. The Ice Age was actually a 6% average reduction of the temperature worldwide. So we're actually going to the other direction, and this is big. You've already seen crazy weather happening around the world, like heat waves, rainstorms. And also, even if the average temperature raises 2 degrees, they say all the coral reefs in the world are going to be destroyed. Of course, nature and animal systems are going to be destroyed. So if we don't act today, this is going to happen. So that's why everybody's getting very, very serious. The key to carbon neutral is clean energy. These are the three industries that emit the most greenhouse gases. It's industry, electricity, and transportation. So that's why in the news you hear a lot of things about electrical vehicles. But the issue with electrical vehicles is they still use electricity. So even if you get away from gasoline and over here, if you're using coal, for instance, natural resources that emit CO2 over here, it's not good enough. So that's why we want to change. A lot of people are going to change this electricity to clean resources such like solar power, biofuel, and also wind. A lot of companies say, but my company has nothing to do with carbon neutral. I can live as I am. But this is going to be an issue for all companies. Because I don't think we can't stop this coming trend, I think a lot of governments are going to start taxing companies that emit a lot of carbon, like carbon tax and carbon pricing. What this means, if you don't act today, it's going to be an impact on your profit loss and your bottom line. So that's why all these companies have to get serious. And also, carbon neutral will become your key to market access. What I mean is the millennials' influence is growing. They're a very, very environment conscious age. And if they know that you're not good to the earth, you're not obeying these kind of environmental rules, they will not buy your product. We've already seen that happen in real life. And also the end user purchasing directives are also going to have an impact. For instance, if you have a car, it's not good enough for the final assembly line just to be carbon neutral. All the parts that compose of a car need to be carbon neutral as well. So a lot of companies are going to ask their suppliers to comply to these carbon neutral initiatives, or otherwise they're not going to buy your product. So as I said, if you don't act, you're going to be entirely locked out of the market. So it's an issue for everybody. These kind of trends of people not approving environmental non-friendly companies is already happening. You look at the ExxonMobil, Shell, and Chevron shareholder meetings, they told the board that you have to rethink and accelerate your environment policies, and it's happening. And this is going to continue to happen all over the world. Next, I'd like to talk about Mitsubishi Electric carbon neutral activities. We're very proud to be a company that is conscious of the environment, and we've received various awards from the CDP, for instance, our climate activities, water activities, and also being a supplier that is very, very engaged in environmental leadership. I'm very proud that we are walking the talk, we say. In 2007, we set our Environmental Vision 2021. We set some ambitious goals to reduce CO2 emissions during production, and for instance, also reduce resource inputs. We targeted 30% less emissions during production. What were the results? It's 2021. We were able to achieve 56% less CO2 emissions during production, and we've been able to achieve most of our goals. The only goal we weren't able to achieve was employment engagement on environmental activities, but this was because of the COVID, so I think it's something we can let go. But I think these kind of commitments and also planning and actually doing it is very important, and it's going to be the base of achieving carbon neutral. And there's a lot we can teach other companies how we did it. For a lot of companies, to image carbon neutral is very, very difficult. So that's why we have these flagship buildings such as like Sao Paulo and Tokyo to show that zero emission buildings are possible. These buildings have already gotten these LEED Platinum ranks and it's a BLS 5-star rank. So it can be possible, and there is the technology to make it possible. Please take a look when you have the time. Recycling is also very, very essential for carbon neutral. When you make steel or you make plastic, it always emits a lot of greenhouse gases. So if you can recycle the products you've already made, that significantly reduces the amount of carbon as a whole that you're emitting to the world. So that's why we also have a big focus on how to recycle. I mean, there's a lot of issues surrounding carbon neutral, but it's not only problems. There's a lot of opportunities, I think. For instance, Siemens Energy would be a typical competitor to us, but we need to speed up our technology and developments, and that's why we've agreed to work together on these high voltage power transmission industries, combining our brains and technology to accelerate these technologies to help the world. Finally, I'd like to talk a little about carbon neutral in manufacturing. For a lot of companies, especially small and middle-sized companies, changing to clean energy isn't easy. A lot of companies don't have the money and resources and land space to install these big solar panels or wind power. And also, if you buy from, if you ask your suppliers to provide clean energy, it's going to cost you. So it's not easy. And we have to live with carbon. We have to live with electricity. Everything is made of carbon, all products, and even human beings are made in carbon. We emit carbon from our mouths, so it's something we have to live with. And at the end, you will have to use energy. I mean, even EVs, they use electricity, they use energy. So in manufacturing, you're not going to be able to manufacture without energy. So at the end point, what's really necessary in manufacturing is to save energy. It's going back to the basics. You're not going to be able to get away from energy, so you have to save it in order to achieve carbon neutral. In manufacturing, what goes up and down at the same time? And I have a seesaw over here. A lot of people just get so focused on saving energy, and of course that's important, but actually increasing productivity is equally important in order to save energy. If you're able to produce more products in the same time, you're going to save energy. If you're able to improve your quality and have less waste, you're going to save energy. That's why when you tackle saving energy in manufacturing, it's also very important to focus as well on productivity. And that's why at Mitsubishi Electric we have this very, very important KPI called energy by unit produced, EPU. It's the amount of energy needed to manufacture a single unit of production. Everybody, of course, is going to focus on energy consumption, but it's also about production. If you can raise your production, you're going to save energy and be more carbon neutral as a whole. We have a lot of products and solutions that we can help you, so if you're interested in attacking this global problem, just let us know and we'll try to help you as much as possible. Just a small summary. Carbon neutral is a must. No company is going to get away with not complying to this, so it's very, very important to commit to this initiative and plan and act to it, because you're going to have to act now in order to achieve it. And at the end, in manufacturing, reducing energy and improving productivity is a key component to do this. So always focus on this too. I'm sure a lot of initiatives will come to help have clean energy more accessible. So. Okay, I have a lot of more things about IoT and energy saving in my separate YouTube video, so if you have a chance, please take a look. And that's the end of my presentation today. I hope you enjoyed it and it was a little help for you. Okay, see you again.